Disclaimer. Remember, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and do not reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. Hey, Kimmie. We are back and we have a wonderful topic that we're going to get deep with today. And I I find this topic really, really fascinating, and I'm going to let you just give us just a synopsis so that we can start unraveling this topic.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about Young Miami's what people are calling a summer anthem. And I think that's part of the problem people are having with it. But her song called Spin That. Spin That. Spin That. The criticism that she has faced, the backlash that she has faced regarding the lyrics of this particular song. And, we're going to get deep, of course, like you expect us to. This is supposed to be right. I don't know. I guess people are looking at it as a fun song. Now, what I'll tell you is, and I've been guilty of this, is, I'll hear a song and I will fall in love with the melody.
Mhm.
Like the song is definitely a bop, right?
It's hype. I mean, the music, makes you want to move, right?
And when I first heard the song, all I was listening to was the chorus, and it's just talking about spend that, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna spend my money too. My money that I work hard for, and I'm gonna spend it. I'm gonna spend it. But and then when I was just like, okay, and I heard people talking about like, oh my God, this song is about scamming, and I was like, what? Oh my gosh, is it really? So then I listened to the lyrics, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, she is talking about boosting and she's talking about scamming. And so I was just like, oh, okay. So of course we're going to go deep about the gender bias of it all. We're going to talk about how we feel about it. And I'll say that I'm torn with the topic, I guess you could say.
Yeah. You know what, Kimmie? I think that this is a great topic because it really shows that there are many layers to this. And I think that we can't just say, oh, this is right or this is wrong, because there are many, many, many layers. I mean, like you mentioned, the gender issues. I mean, we're talking about respectability politics. We're talking about images, how people perceive Black women, how people perceive Black men, how people perceive rappers. And so lots of different angles that we can look at this from.
And this, and we can talk about how lyrics can and cannot be used in legal proceedings. And I think the overarching opinion is that it cannot, right? Because it's an artistic expression.
Yeah.
So when I first heard about the quote unquote controversy, the first thing that came to my mind just instinctively is like, okay, people have a problem with this because it's a woman boasting. Like, people are just uncomfortable with women seeming to be boastful, I guess, strong in their convictions, in control of whatever it is that they are talking about. And so to me, it seems like it becomes more of a problem when it comes from a woman. And then I feel like those with both clean and unclean hands have something to say about it. Of course, my biggest issue and labeling of hypocrisy are those with unclean hands having a problem with it.
Yeah.
So it kind of exploded because India Ari posted a comment in a threads, whatever. I haven't actually seen the actual threads.
I've read a couple of things from it,
and I don't have a problem with India Ari because India has clean hands, right? India has clean hands. This has been a part of her persona. And I hate using the word persona because it makes it seem like it's orchestrated, but it's really her. It really is who she is. Like, she's been saying this from day one. And that's why her journey has been so difficult in the industry. Because she is like, listen, we need to stop poisoning our community. We need to uplift our community. We need to say positive things. We need to do positive things. So I actually don't have an issue with her having an issue.
Yeah.
What I do have an issue with is those of us that are in the community like other rappers who just, they don't have clean hands because
Yeah, yeah.
they've put out trash. Well, I don't know if I won't call it trash, but they've put out negative
Images.
images
They've put
that
out
just,
images that are really very hurtful to specific groups. For example, very misogynistic
mm-hmm,
lyrics,
mm-hmm,
lyrics supporting violence against women,
mm-hmm,
lyrics that are anti-LGBTQ.
mm-hmm,
They put out this information and now they're saying, "Oh, she shouldn't do that. That's not
mm-hmm,
good."
mm-hmm.
And there's some hypocrisy there.
And I see it, to me, it's a topic that is, to me, is beyond or above Young Miami, because she also doesn't have clean hands, right? I know people feel a way about her because she supported Puffy, right?
Mhm.
And I feel the same way. Like, I'm just like, okay, Young Miami, what, what do you, whatever.
And because
Yeah.
then, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, artists really have the right to express themselves because artists have a unique perspective. They have um, they have a way of viewing the world, and so it is interesting to be able to have that bird's eye view into how she believes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so there's that piece, and there's
Mm-hmm.
also the whole community because the song is now part of our cultural landscape. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's the impact. One of the things, and I thought this was really interesting, they talked about a mother and daughter team who went, and I believe this was in Seattle, Washington, I think, and they stole Louis Vuitton bags. And part of the reason they were caught is because they posted online.
Mm-hmm.
They had
Mm-hmm.
the song played in the background,
Yeah.
and they're just like,
Yeah. Yeah. This is
yeah,
what we're doing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like, yeah, I did it, and
Mm-hmm.
here's what I did. And so people are saying, okay, look, they're following into this culture of, yeah, I'm a scam. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
steal and do
Mm-hmm.
this. And so the truth is, we can't say that the people who did this did it because of the song. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because it sounds like they'd done this before, like the
Probably.
history of,
Mm-hmm.
doing this. So, but there are people who will say that this song influenced them,
And that it glorifies.
that it
And see,
glorifies it. Yeah.
and that's why I feel like I'm kind of torn on the topic, right? There's a part of me that feels like there are a lot of women artists who are taking control of their narratives, and they are earning the money on their narrative. And I really feel like that is a scary thing to men, especially like other artists who take control of their sexuality or whatever it is, right? And they talk about sex in a very forward, very in control way. I've heard other male artists come out and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe she's talking about her, her P word this way. Like, why is she saying that? Why?" And when 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you were the one saying it. And so you're just upset now that you no longer have a corner on the market
Right.
of exploiting a woman's sexuality. It's a problem when a woman is in control of or exploiting her own
Yeah.
sexuality for her own financial gain. And so I'm torn because I feel like there's huge hypocrisy in all of that, right?
Yeah.
So I pulled up the lyrics to her song, and then I pulled up the lyrics to another rap song, YNW Melly. He had a song called Murder on My Mind, or even Future. Like Future is, because, YNW Melly, right? I think I've heard the name, but I don't know how much
Like
commercial
main,
success
yeah.
that he had.
Yeah.
So I look at
Future's
Future.
mainstream.
Right. And so
Yeah.
Young Miami, I would think, is kind of mainstream now because a lot of people, really do know who she is, right? Like, I know who she is. But
Hmm.
if you were to say, oh, this is the YNW Melly song, I'd be like, oh, I don't know. But I know Future, right? And so, Future has a whole song called Living the Low Life. Like,
Hmm.
he very famously made getting high on synthetic drugs an acceptable thing.
Uh-huh.
And I look at the lyrics, and the chorus is high, high, getting high, everybody getting high, getting high. You're unbelievably high. Like, I mean, and one of the other bridges is living the low life. Like, the song is called Living the Low Life,
Hmm.
right? And Future is very popular, and you don't see these same people coming out and criticizing his music, right? And, you know, and then I look at her lyrics, right? She's saying, yeah, okay. She's saying, yeah, where are my scamming ends at, spending that money fast, 20, 1,500 cash, right? So she's talking about scamming. She's talking about where the boosting girls at, and she uses another word for girls, women. Where the boosting bees at, where y'all at, stuffing everything in your bag, you know, just so you can pop some tags or whatever, right? And so I paraphrase. But you know, those are the lyrics. And you know, the YNW Melly song, he's talking about wanting to murder and seeing blood and blood on his shirt, and the person died in his hand. You know, like, what do we, you know? And so there, where is the collective? Where is the collective outrage?
Yeah. Yeah. And so,
That's my
yeah, I mean, and I can really see that those points, all those points. And the great
right.
thing about it, when we talk about getting deep, is we can hold these different thoughts. We can
Right.
hold all of these different thoughts. We can talk about this from a, well, what is this doing to the community
Yeah.
aspect, you know?
Mhm.
And then we can talk about it from a bigger aspect of, do song lyrics really impact people, or do people impact song lyrics? You know,
Right.
your
The
life.
chicken before the egg kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, we can talk about this in so many ways. You know, we can talk about this, like I mentioned, from artistic freedom and expression, and
Because I remember when gangster rap started.
oh yeah,
You know, we remember that, right?
we remember that.
We
We
remember.
absolutely remember NWA. I remember that. I
And then
remember.
the sexually explicit lyrics from Two Live Crew, right?
Yes, oh yeah, I remember Two Live Crew.
Yeah. So we remember those things, and I personally do feel that the lyrics and the music impact the community. Like, I personally do agree with that. And I would get really angry when these men would say, well, I call women bees, but if you're not a bee, then don't worry about it. And I just thought that that was such a weak argument.
You couldn't say that, and even if you don't consider yourself a beat, and I'm gonna say, you know, even if you could,
Well, our video, I don't want it to get flagged.
oh,
That's why I say bee.
I'll have to bleep that out when we have.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just really like saying, you can't say, okay, well, I don't think you should be saying that about any women. You know,
Because my argument was, you know, the little kid on the street isn't going to know that I'm a good woman.
right.
They're going to call me a bee because they heard NWA calling women bees, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I've always felt that lyrics and music impact people. It impacts their behavior because it glorifies it, and
and it
it normalizes
normalizes
it.
it. And the other part is, not only does it have the ability to impact a person, and by normalizing certain things, it has the ability to create stereotypes, or
Mhm,
reinforce stereotypes.
mhm,
When NWA came out, I
mhm,
remember the concerts that they had, and they would show little clips um,
mhm,
on the news.
mhm,
NWA, and they would actually shut down concerts. I remember
mhm.
the police would come in and they shut down concerts. And you
Yeah.
know, you look out at the crowd, and
Mhm,
they would you knew that there were lots of white people
mm,
oh my goodness, there were so many white people, you know, yelling they were singing along with NWA,
yeah.
yelling the N-word and la
Mhm,
la la la. But then they also showed the violence that happened after the
mhm.
concerts, like when the police came in, and all you saw were black folks,
Right.
you know? And
Yes.
so the stereotypes that have been reinforced by
Mhm,
songs have really also contributed to how the culture has been perceived.
mhm,
And I say
mhm,
that, and I can also hold the
mhm,
fact that I still believe in artistic freedom. I can still hold
mhm. Yeah.
those things.
That was the argument was, yeah, we have artistic freedom. And so I kind of feel like the artists who now all of a sudden want to have some sort of moral compass have only come out with that moral compass because women are now in control,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right? In control of their images,
because
like a Meg or like a Cardi or like
right,
a Young Miami even, you know? And
yeah.
so I guess it's unsettling to
Mhm.
them, offensive.
It doesn't fit in with the normal. stereotype of what a woman should be,
Mm-hmm.
or who a woman should be. You know, a good woman. It
And you
doesn't
know
fit
what?
in with that stereotype.
And I thought about this, right? I my dad, I never remember my dad ever saying to me that I shouldn't do something because I'm a woman. It
Mm.
was always just, yeah, you shouldn't say that. Like if it's something that he didn't want me to say, or
Mhm.
was offensive to him, it was just because it was offensive. It was never because I'm a girl.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
as a young lady, you shouldn't, like, my dad never said,
Never would say that. Never would say
never.
that.
Like,
Never
you
would.
know, for me to even become a lawyer. I mean, I used to remember we used to go to the mall, and I remember I met that guy, this boy, I guess it was because we were young.
Oh, yes, I
And he
remember
told
him.
me that I shouldn't be a
His
lawyer.
name. He said, "Well, I don't want, I don't want you
I
to
don't
get
want you to fail.
to fail. I don't want you." Didn't he also say something about, "I don't want you to get hurt when you're not at your, you fail or you're something." I thought it was,
Mhm.
"I didn't want you to get your hopes up high that you could do it."
Well,
You were,
but
you
that, I
were a
mean,
girl.
right, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. He said, I don't want you to fail.
Mhm.
I think maybe you should be a nurse. Like
Yeah.
that's what he told me
Yeah.
instead of being a lawyer.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so I just feel really lucky that I had a father that didn't treat me different just because I am a woman,
Yeah.
or a girl. And so I just kind of feel like that's what I see with these women, because all of us are different, right?
Mhm.
You know, and all of us have had different moral compasses. You know, do I think it's right? No, I don't. I do think these messages impact young people.
Yeah.
And it's not just the parents, because young people leave their parents' homes, or their mothers' homes. They leave their homes, they go out into the world,
Mhm.
and your parents are not your only influence.
Exactly. And if we think about it from a behavioral standpoint, your family of origin is really your primary influence until you get into the school environment. So
Yeah.
even
And you get
young
into the school
kids,
environment at 5 years old, 4 and 5.
then the social group
Mhm.
really has a significant
Yes.
impact on you. And
Yeah.
so even if my mom didn't want me listening to NWA, I did anyway.
Yeah.
I did anyway because I was such a big nerd and I felt like, well, I have to know what's going on in
Mhm.
society so that I'm not, I'm
Blindsided.
not, yeah, so I'm not blindsided. And so that if there is someone who wants to chat with me about this, I could at least speak to them intelligently about it,
Mhm.
because I was such a big nerd. I was, read everything and wanted to
Mhm.
do that. But yeah, the social group. So even young kids want to see, well, what are my peers doing?
Mhm.
Oh, why can't I listen to that? Or why, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm. So if you really ask the question, yeah, I think the song is irresponsible. I do. Like, I think it's irresponsible. I think that it could impact a very young person.
Mhm.
Of course, because I see people saying, yeah, I'm gonna listen to the song. I'm not gonna go out and steal. Sir or ma'am,
You're
you're a
an
35-year
adult
old grown woman.
with the cognitive ability, because
Yeah.
remember that frontal lobe, that
Mm-hmm.
25 years of age,
Mm-hmm.
the way you think as a child and as
Mm-hmm.
a young adult
Mm-hmm.
is very different from where we are.
Yeah.
We can listen to all
You can
kinds of
listen to it.
stuff
Of
now
course.
and know and have our own moral compass that's already developed and we
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and going back to what you said, if I had the talent to be a rapper or to be a singer or act or whatever, okay,
Right.
I would want to really contribute to a positive environment because I would know how much I could influence others. That's
Yeah.
that's me. That's my
Yeah.
own personal mindset. Not everybody feels that way. And you know what? Some people don't even think that what they're saying is necessarily negative because that is the environment that maybe they grew up in and they saw as their norm
I
and their
know.
normal, you know?
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then, and then too, if I put myself in the shoe like as an artist, like you said, if I had the talent to either be a rapper or a singer, right? I think I would feel confined if I couldn't express my entire experience.
Yeah.
And my entire experience includes adult topics.
Yeah.
So I think life is gray. Life is nuance.
Mhm.
Life is layered.
Right.
in a lot of situations, there isn't this like one answer that we're going to find.
Yeah.
I think it's all, individual. Like, if I realize that I am an artist where young people are listening to what I say and could emulate what I'm saying, then I don't know, I may second guess that. I may say, well, I need to be careful with the images and the imagery
Hmm.
that I'm putting out there, for these young people whose parents are drug addicts and aren't taking care of them. What about
Yeah.
those kids?
Yeah.
There are kids out there where their parents aren't responsible. So is it going to help me sleep better at night by just saying, well, their parents should be taking care of them, not me? I think that a lot of artists say that so that they can sleep better at night if
Right.
they're putting out real toxic messages.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of us would probably agree that the message that she's putting out is a toxic one. But we should be equally as outraged with all of the other rappers out there that are talking about drugs.
And not just rappers,
Yeah.
but other
Yeah.
genres of music
Other,
that
yes, yes.
have the same message, but
Rock and
they're
roll,
not being scrutinized.
like rock and roll,
Yeah. Yeah.
heavy
Absolutely.
metal.
Absolutely. The thing that I find disheartening is the Black community has already been stereotyped. White supremacists have been saying things, even people who are on a national platform have been using these dog whistles to talk about Black people. And now you have a Black woman who is saying, okay, yeah, we do scam people. We
Hmm.
don't work. We don't care. We just want to do this. And
Yeah.
so that makes me sad
Yeah.
because it's because they use that. That's fodder for their dog whistles,
It
you
is.
know? So that makes me sad.
And it's an unfair responsibility.
Yeah. And
It
there's
is a
the other
responsibility.
layer. It's unfair. It's unfair for that one person to have the responsibility of
The entire race.
uplifting the entire, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's multi-layered. It's
Hmm.
multi-layered. Yeah.
And the question is, you know, should we be expected to take on that responsibility?
Right.
And some parts of me, I think a large part of me says yes, because it is what it is. Like, that's the reality that we're dealing with because we have these stereotypes. Then we do have to, we unfortunately have to be more mindful of the images that we put out there because it is used,
Hmm.
right? It is construed in a way to continue the oppression of our community.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. And we could even go back to, and we've mentioned this at the very beginning, respectability politics.
Hmm.
I think that was something that was really discussed a lot in the 60s, where there were older members of the Black community that were telling younger folks, no, you have to stand up higher, you have to be better, you have to always, monitor the way you're behaving to conform
Hmm.
to this image so that you're
Hmm.
not perceived as being negative. And so
Hmm.
putting that responsibility on people is really really hard.
Hmm.
It's really hard to have that responsibility put
Hmm.
on you.
Because I could just imagine being an artist and being a creative, how suffocating
Hmm.
that could be.
Hmm. And we could even extend this discussion about using the N word, because she's using the N word
Hmm.
in her song, and people have complained about that, but then other people are saying no, we are reclaiming, I guess,
Yeah. Hmm.
you're reclaiming a term and using it so that it has power for you, not power against you.
Right.
And
Hmm.
so there are all of these layers, all of these layers.
And that's worth something.
Mhm.
That is, I think it's worth something to say that we are taking the power from that word. And then you have other people who feel
That it
totally
should never ever be used.
that you shouldn't
And then
use it. No one should
no
use it.
one should use it. And then there are other people who say there's a difference between the ER and the A at the end. Like they're two separate words. So depending on which camp you sit in, there are a
Hmm.
whole lot of different ways you can look at this.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very interesting. So I think, Nikki, this was a fantastic conversation. And And like I said, I definitely think that it is a great representation of what life is,
Yeah.
and that life isn't black and white.
It's confusing and it can be
Mhm,
messy.
mhm.
And it
And
can,
you
it
do
can,
the best that you can.
yes, you do the best that you can with what you know at that time.
Mhm,
And when
mhm.
you, as Maya Angelou said, and when you know better,
Know better,
you do.
you do better.
And
Mhm.
so, that's a really important lesson,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
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 All right. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, that
You
was
know,
a great
I
topic.
think I think we decided at our during our bonus episode that we're going to close out with reminding everybody to stay moisturized,
Moisturized,
hydrated,
hydrated, and
and
unbothered.
unbothered.
Yes, yes. We definitely have to do that, and also have to remind people to like, comment, and subscribe. We are building our base. We really want to know what kinds of topics you all want to hear about. We really want to know, just ideas and
Mm-hmm.
what you
And what
like
do you think?
and what
And
you
what,
think. Yeah,
yeah, what you heard us talk about.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So until next time, then, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye. So we want to get deep with you. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe buttons. See you soon.